Managing the waiver wire is very important for fantasy football because you have to be plucking the right guys off waivers or at least have a strategy. One thing you got on your team that you can use to help you out for the long term is your IR spot. You can pick up injured players and dash them in there and stash them and then hold them for longer than what you would a healthy player because that spot makes it easier. And then you can use the rest of your roster to turn and burn guys for your lineups. A guy that we've been talking about for the last few weeks that we still need to talk about because the numbers aren't changing too much is Jameson Williams. Check the roster rate on Sleeper. He's at a 48% roster share. So 48% of leagues has him rostered, which is leaving 52% of leagues where he's just sitting there on waivers. Go check right now, see if he's there. Also, that's an increase by 1% from last week. I like to say this 1% came from this channel because that's probably what happened because I've been pumping up the Jameson Williams talk as of late. And the thing is, you pick him up, you stash him on IR if you can. Maybe you can hold him on the back end of your roster and just clinch on. He is a big deal because of the draft capital. Top end first round draft capital. You're talking about a wide receiver who can run 4.3, 4.2 speed. We saw it at Alabama. He was running past defenses, making big plays, very productive, catching 78 balls for 1,561 yards and 15 touchdowns. He initially went to Alabama last year, took over instantly, and was successful with 7 100-yard games. 9.3 yards after the catch per reception. That just shows how explosive he is when he has the ball in his hands. And he was very efficient. 143 quarterback rating when targeted. In some of the videos, I've noticed some discourse in the comment section. And it's about Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Like, people don't understand that both these guys can feed off each other. If Jameson Williams hits, that doesn't mean it kills Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he gets a 25% target share, let's just throw that out, there's still meat on the bone for Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're good for each other, actually. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you have him in fantasy, especially long-term in Dynasty, you would kind of want Jameson Williams to hit because he's going to clear things out for Amon-Ra. It's going to make it easier for him to work underneath. Amon-Ra does well with those short to intermediate targets. And then Jameson Williams is a deep ball guy. He's going to get those air yards, those deep pass attempts, those targets, maybe some clear out screens or whatever where they're trying to get the yak off him. But he's the speed guy. He's an elite speed guy, high-end draft capital. Amon-Ra is a technician and can really clear things out over the middle, short to intermediate targets. So these guys are perfect for each other. And I could see them both hitting. So the discourse in the comments really needs to stop when it comes to these two because honestly, your fandom on these players is causing you not to look at the whole circle here. If Amon-Ra St. Brown owns, Jameson Williams can still get his. If Jameson Williams becomes a huge success, Amon-Ra St. Brown can still get his. Jameson Williams is not going to steal from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown's probably not going to steal from Jameson Williams because they are in two different paths. They went on two different ways. You may think that going in, but honestly, there's enough to go around here. If anything, it'll hurt the other ancillary pass catchers in the receiving unit. But if Jameson Williams hits, it's not going to kill off Amon-Ra St. Brown. The thing that we're looking for here is Jameson Williams for this year, if he's looking healthy, if he's on the field getting targets, the fact that he can clear things out, the fact that he's already a nuanced route runner who can stop on the dime, sell his routes, and has that burst and acceleration to get you those yards after the catch, he can be a huge splash play for you. And on top of that, typically the wide receivers, those rookies that hit for you at the end of the year or during the season that come at you, are those high-end rookie wide receivers. We're looking for one to do that. Jameson Williams coming back from a knee injury. The odds of a player coming back from an injury like that isn't 100% good. However, we got draft capital here. We know the talent's there. and we're just gambling. And an IR spot makes him even cheaper. The one thing that makes him kind of expensive to own in fantasy is that you have to hold on to him for a bit. That might be hard to do for some of you guys, depending on your roster size, depending on how many players you can stash. But if you can, you want to diamond fist him just to see what happens. And I know a lot of you guys have already done this because I get a lot of messages from you guys saying, hey, I drafted him and I immediately threw him in my IR spot because I want to see what happens. Most of the guys you draft end up turned and burned to the waiver wire anyway. So a stash like this for the last half of the season is something good for you to see what happens, because you know what? You get a top tier rookie that you get to mess around with for the back half of the season. You know what? If he doesn't hit, what happens? You put him back on waivers, you get somebody else. Look at all the guys on waivers. You got a lot of jabronis. They ain't going to do much for you. There might be a running back who might get to start for a game or two, get some carries, but what's that going to do for you? You might get a good game here, but you're not going to get long-term upside. You're not going to get anything nuclear. We're looking for a player that could go off. That could be Jameson Williams, and that's not a call. That's not a call at all. I'm not saying that he will. More than likely, it probably won't because he's a rookie. He's coming back from an injury. There's a lot of ambiguity here. He's got to compete with some pass catchers. However, you're taking a chance at this lottery ticket that could win you the Mega Millions. And you know what? A player like this, that if they hit their upside quick, they're going to help you win your league pretty quickly, especially if you're hurting at the wide receiver spot or you need a stud at your flex or whatever. If this hits, it's going to hit big, and that's why you're chasing it. If there's a player on your roster that sucks, getting you 8 to 10 fantasy points per game, he's not going to win you your league. Drop that guy, pick up Jameson Williams. If he doesn't hit, guess what? You're still getting the same thing. You're still getting the same thing, but Jameson Williams could go boom on you. If you got an IR spot, guess what? Jameson Williams is going to help you out. Out of all the videos I do these 2 or 3 a day almost. Get ready for this guy. Get ready for that guy. Get this guy off waivers. Jameson Williams is the most intriguing, and I'm going to tell you that right now. He's the guy I want in most of my leagues, especially the farther we get into the season. And not because I think he's going to hit, but because I want to invest in the speculation, because there's a chance that if he does, it's going to be huge. And I know the downside's pretty high here. The downside could be nothing. The downside could be very low. We're talking about a player coming back from a bad injury, is a rookie at that. He's got good competition in the offense. It's the Lions. All that stuff. There's a lot of stuff there. But you know what? Sometimes you got to take a chance. And if you're going to take a chance on a player, might as well be on a free player that you can just hold for the back end of your roster and don't have to worry about for a bit. If you got to turn them and burn them for another player, then you know that's just life. You have to do that. But a player like this who has top-end draft capital, top-end athleticism, production at a top-end Power 5 school like Alabama, and is in an offense that throws the ball all over the yard, you want to speculate on that. And if you're going to speculate on an asset, this is the one to do it. Jameson Williams is the guy you want to stash on your IR, that you want to have on the back of your roster. Out of all the guys I talk about on this channel, this is the one that I'm most interested in. I'd like to bring guys up as suggestions for you to help you out. There's a bunch of people who watch this channel, over 100,000 a month. And you know what? There's something for everybody. But for me, personally, Jameson Williams is the guy I'm chasing the most. And it's not really a chase. He's rostered in more than 50% of leagues, so I'm still picking him up. And if I gotta drop him, there's no real loss, because the last player on your bench or on your IR spot should not break you. The last player on your roster should not break you, and if it's breaking you, your team's already broken, so don't worry about that. But let me know what you think about Jameson Williams. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you tap that like button. Really helps me out, helps the channel out, helps the video out. And you better hit that subscribe button, because I'm only going to help you out going forward in the season, setting your lineups, getting guys off waivers, helping you out with trades, and everything else. But I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.